Aries friends, with Jupiter combust in your 5th house of romance and creativity, joy and children, the usual outlets for pleasure and self-expression feel very much toned down, even invisible in fact. But look, don't mistake quiet for closed. There is a change in the air and it's coming soon. And you've also got Venus in fall in your 6th house of daily work and health and routine. And this has probably made you more self-critical about your body and your habits over the last couple of weeks. Have hope, Aries. It is not going to stay this way. And I'm going to tell you why in this video today. This is a video forecast for your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. You can check out all 3 videos and they will tell you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. Friends, I am Ksenia and welcome to the Astro News and Weather Report for the rest of August 2026. Now, this is tropical Vedic astrology, not sidereal. Look it up if you need to know the difference. And yes, I am a real person, not AI. If you're new here and having trouble finding the piece about your particular sign, all you need to do is go to the timestamps or the chapters to take you directly to the information. But for those of you who enjoy learning about astrology and understanding the full gamut of what this week holds for you, then please enjoy listening to the introductory piece. Before we dive into the astrology this month, my friends, I have 5 big announcements to make and I'm so excited to share them with you. The first is that my Astro Wheels are back. They are for sale at the website and the US edition is just fantastic. You can order yours today before the small production run that I'm starting with is all sold out. And believe me, they sell out fast. The second announcement is that I will be selling my Astro Wheels at our upcoming Stars Over Tahoe retreat. Again, you can check that out in the details on the website. There's a link in the description below. You'll not only enjoy a fabulous retreat with myself and my husband, David Warner Matheson, but you can get yourself a fabulous Astro Wheel free from postage costs at the retreat as well too. So as I said, check the link in the description and join the wait list for the retreat to be the first to book in for the retreat as soon as our rooms are released for sale. Now, our next announcement, number 3, is that obviously the eclipse is upon us. We're hearing all about it in social media, etc., etc. And those who follow me, they know that I do a mammoth reading for each sign and the impacts of the eclipse for each sign every single eclipse season. And that's available at my Patreon family, the Guiding Star Astrology family. This is something you don't want to miss if you want to work with the energies of this eclipse, if you want to understand it fully, if you want to use its potential blessings to get the most out of your life. And this is going to be a very blessed eclipse series. I can't wait to tell you all about it at the Patreon family. The link again will be in the description below. If you want to join that community, it's only $5 to join for a month, which gives you access to all the eclipse forecasts and even more stuff from the back catalogue that you will love. And the 4th announcement that I want to make is that readings for August and September are now available as well. You can book a time that works for you. And in fact, I've changed my website so that you can now see what's available before you make your booking if you want a live reading with me. Or you can book a pre-recorded reading with me. These are actually my favorite. You know, I can do a really deep dive into your astrology in a pre-recorded reading the way I just can't do in a live session. And I love the teacher in me, the researcher in me, you know, the person who loves to deep dive 3 planets in the 8th house. I can't help myself. I love going really, really deep into people's charts and telling them all that I see unfolding there about their personality and what's going to happen in the future. I love exploring people's charts in a pre-recorded reading. So these are all available now at the website, and this is just in time as we get back into life and say farewell to summer in the Northern Hemisphere or get ready for the beautiful spring that's emerging down in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, finally, I have a new way of sharing videos here at the Guiding Star Astrology YouTube channel. You're going to want to listen to this so you know what to expect in the future. On Thursdays, I will be sharing the cardinal signs. They will get their week ahead reading on Thursday. On Fridays, it's the turn of the fixed signs to receive their reading. And on Saturday, the mutable signs will get all the juicy astro goodness for their sign in a reading for the week ahead. So I hope everybody's subscribed to the channel so they don't miss a single episode of astrological empowerment. Now, friends, I can't help but notice as I talk to all my astrology friends and my beautiful Patreon family, we have lots of chat groups and I hear how everybody's going and how everyone's experiencing the energies of the moment there. Same with my fantastic Royal Stars Academy students. I also have been talking a lot to my loved ones. And one thing I notice, everyone is really struggling right now. For example, some of my very famous and well-known astrology friends are wondering why their businesses have suddenly just dried up like that. And it's more than just the summer quiet period that happens every year or the advent of AI. They're actually feeling a lack and stuckness in the energy, in the energetic field. And they're not wrong. It's almost palpable. You can almost hold it and touch it. Others have mentioned the tremendous amount of shadow work that they're struggling to process right now. Other people I know have mentioned the tremendous rises in crime that they're seeing, both personal instances of crime and also the obvious corporate and governmental crimes that are taking place in front of us everywhere. The mask is absolutely off. So there's this sensation of fear that I'm really sensing in the ether, what's going to become of us type of energy right now. So just know that if you're feeling this way too, you're not alone. It's the energy of this moment. And I'm going to break it down for you in this video. We're going to look at the astrology of why it's feeling that way right now. And then we're going to look at when it's going to change, and it is going to change. You're going to want to stick around and find out all about how and why that will change. And as always, I'm going to wrap things up by making it personal for your sun, moon, and your rising sign. So stick around for the astro goodness. Here we go. The first reason that the energy feels so heavy right now is that Jupiter is combust. Jupiter is hidden in the sky until August 9th through to 20, depending on where you reside on the globe, when he will become visible again. But as you can see on the astro wheel here is the sun, here is Jupiter, they're conjoined. And therefore, from our vantage point on Earth, here at the logo, we can only see the sun. We can't see Jupiter. Jupiter is lost in the glare of the sun. He is invisible, not in the sky at all, as far as we can see. So the auspicious blessings that we normally associate with this great benefic planet Jupiter, they now become weak when they're not visible. And challenging situations in our lives become more noticeable, more pronounced when Jupiter is hidden in the sky. It's this classic as above, so below. When we have the great benefic visible, our lives feel more benefic. When Jupiter is invisible, we feel more desperate, more fearful. Jupiter is the planet of faith, the planet of expansion, the planet of, it'll work out. And he is present in the sky. We just can't see him. He's present in a sign that's usually strong for him. So that's thumbs up. That's good. But he's not giving any light. He is not visible. And it means there's an absence. Well, actually, it means there's not an absence of resources available to us and support networks that are available to us, but it's an absence of this feeling that everything is going to be okay. That's what we're experiencing. So Jupiter is the planet, and he's so beautiful. I love him so much. Jupiter is the planet that says, you know what? There's a way through this. Things can improve. Someone will come to my aid. Someone will help. There's more than enough for everybody. The future contains so many possibilities. Justice, meaning, and proportion will eventually prevail upon the earth. Things can grow rather than simply be managed. These are Jupiter thoughts. These are Jupiter concepts and energetic dispositions. And when his light is no longer in the sky, we have a much harder time feeling that those concepts are real and active in our everyday lives. They're missing. They're missing from our journey. And boy, do we feel the ache. So we can be surrounded by possibilities, and yet we feel like there are no possibilities. We can have resources in abundance around us, and yet we feel impoverished. We can have people who love us everywhere, and nevertheless we feel completely alone. We can have a bright future right there ahead of us, and yet we can't imagine it. We can't visualize it. So quite frankly, a combust Jupiter really sucks, but it happens every single year. So why is it so bad and so heavy at the moment? Well, the second reason is this one. Venus, the other benefic planet in the sky, is in her fall, and she's going to be in her fall in Virgo until August the 6th. So Venus is exalted in Pisces, which is opposite Virgo, and that means the sign that you're exalted in means the sign opposite that sign is your fall sign. So Venus is in fall. Now, Virgo, what does Virgo do? Virgo is a beautiful sign. Lovely, lovely energy. I love Virgo. I have so many Virgos in my family. It's uncanny. But Virgo strips Venus of ease and softness and replaces that ease and softness with critique, analysis, and this hyper-awareness of what's lacking in our lives and what's broken. Virgo asks the question, is it useful? Is it efficient? Can we afford it? Well, what's wrong with it? What needs fixing? What isn't working? What could go wrong? And taken to an extreme, these are pretty heavy questions to sort of have spinning around in our monkey mind all day long. So Venus in Virgo actually can turn this Venusian principle of pleasure and enjoyment and contentment into constant assessment, constant worry. So instead of life is good, it becomes, well, life could be good if we could just fix these 17 things first. And that's exactly the sort of atmosphere that we are in right now on the planet. And we start noticing things like what's wrong with our relationships, what's wrong with our bodies, what's wrong with our finances, what's wrong with our homes, what's wrong with our jobs, what's wrong with our society, what's wrong with ourselves. It's a very unforgiving time. And again, it really does suck. But once again, Venus moves through Virgo every single year. This is not an anomaly. It just so happens that the cycle of Venus in Virgo is happening at the same time as Jupiter is combust. They're lining up together this year. And in fact, they will also be in the same dynamic next year and the year after as well. So something to be ready for, okay? But this is a period of time when both the benefic planets are struggling to give their blessings to we humans on the planet. But friends, that's not all. Here's the free set of steak knives that's also thrown in, and it's Saturn down here, retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is his fall. So this is the third component in all this heaviness. And this one is an energy of review and correct. This is the sequence. So we're asking with Saturn retrograding in Aries, what needs fixing in our lives? A bit like Venus in Virgo. What needs more maturity? Where do I need to tighten my belt and become more economical or more stoic or more principled or more practical? That's Saturn retrograde energy in any sign. But it's difficult when he's in his fall in Aries. Saturn retrograde can give us material struggle plus shadow work to deal with a feeling of no visible relief in sight. Saturn in Aries is particularly uncomfortable as a combination when Saturn is retrograding. And this is because Saturn is a planet that says, wait, establish the structure, be patient, and accept the limitations. While Aries says, no way, I want now, I want to act, I want to move, I want results immediately. Oh my God, what a crazy contradiction this energy is. So people can experience at this time, and we are experiencing at this time, sort of this dreadful expression of effort without results. That's psychologically brutal. It creates that awful, awful feeling of, I'm just doing everything I can. Why isn't anything happening? So hard. It's one of the most Saturnian experiences imaginable. And boy, does it suck. because Saturn is retrograde, there can also be a feeling of having to revisit things that we actually thought were already finished. Old debts come back to haunt us, old disappointments, old career issues, old relationship dynamics, old family problems, old fears, old structural problems in society itself. It isn't necessarily that new problems are appearing. Sometimes it's just, I thought I dealt with this. Why has it come back? So Saturn retrograde, another heavy energy thrown into this mix. It's essentially, this is where we're at. The benefics are temporarily unable to perform their functions at full strength, and I've explained why. And at the same time, Saturn is simultaneously demanding that people deal with the realities they would much rather sweep under the mat and not have to deal with. Heavy stuff. Now, as if that wasn't enough, and I'm explaining and laying out why, I will talk about the end of this energy very soon. But the universe has also thrown in on top of all that some really deep psychological components. We have Neptune retrograding as well, and Pluto retrograding, as well as Saturn. This is the Saturn-Neptune-Pluto undertow. And this is difficult. It's not a light, carefree energy to have all these big outer planets that are actually connecting with one another going retrograde at the same time. And it calls forth really deep, introspective, soul-searching work deep within our psyche to transform us. The universe wants us to grow and mature, but God, it's hard sometimes. And psychologically, Saturn and Neptune together in Aries, it can be particularly miserable as a retrograde together in the same sign because it's combining Saturn with his reality focus, his limits, his morality, his scarcity, his energy of responsibility, with Neptune's uncertainty and disillusion and confusion and fear and diffuse boundaries and feeling of helplessness. So what's the result of mixing this oil and water energy together? It can be, I don't know what is happening, but I know I just can't control it. And my friends, isn't that one of the most anxiety-producing combinations that there is? Don't you just hate to feel like life is out of control? When you look at your bank account, when you look at the government decisions, when you look at the scales when you get on them in the morning, when your child is getting bullied at school, you feel out of control. You can't do anything about the circumstances. It is so anxiety-inducing. So here is another component of the energy that is at play. Pluto, as I said as well, is also retrograding in Aquarius, and of course this adds a collective dimension to all this craziness. You know, Pluto's power structures, social systems, group dynamics, social instability, and all the darker aspects of collective behavior. This is Pluto's collective expression in these areas. So just look at what happened in Spain this week. So when you're hearing people talking about all the crime, all the social deterioration, the personal vulnerability, the financial insecurity, when you're hearing people deep in depression or fear or dealing with their shadow material, it's quite plain that the current astrology has synced up in such a way that creates this atmosphere that I'm describing. But my friends, keep in mind everything is cyclical. Good times come and go. Bad times come and go. Nothing actually does remain stuck. It just maybe requires a little patience from time to time. And that's where we're at right now. Hang on there, bite your fingernails if you have to, because everything is changing. And I'm going to tell you when things are going to lift and how they're going to lift right now. So the first thing off the agenda is going to be Venus moving out of Virgo on August 6th. That's not far away. And she's going to move into her own sign, Libra. We Librans, we love having Venus in our own sign. Her own sign, her best expression. This will be an almost immediate softening. Now, it's not going to be like a lightning bolt of change, but it's a softening around relationships, around your personal comfort level, your sense of self-worth and self-value, and the general feeling of pleasure and abundance in our everyday lives. Whew, hang in there. We're almost there. Then, as the month goes on, Jupiter will clear combustion between August 9th and 20th, depending on where you live on the planet when he becomes visible in the sky. Now, this is the real hinge point. Faith, divine generosity, and doors to greater possibilities become active once again as Jupiter's light returns to the Earth. I am so excited. I miss my Jupiter. He rules Pisces, my rising sign. And boy, I notice when he is invisible every year. Ugh, hate it. Bring it on. August 9th to 20th, depending where you are in the world. Now, Saturn is going to stay retrograde until late November. So the undertone with Aries doesn't fully release this month. We're still going to keep going through those Saturnian restructuring energies that I described. But the good news is it stops being paired with a hidden Jupiter, which is the part that makes things feel hopeless rather than just needful of more effort. So yay, that is going to feel more bearable once Jupiter becomes visible. We have eclipses going on all throughout August as well. I mentioned this earlier. So a lot of emotions and key transformational life events are about to take place. You can find out more about what those key events will be for your sign at my massive Guiding Star Astrology Family Eclipse Overview. Links in the description to join the Guiding Star family below. But with eclipse energy at work throughout August, don't expect everything to suddenly be coming up roses in the blink of an eye. Instead of, why is everything so heavy? Why is everything so bleak? What's going to happen is we'll start to feel more like, okay, I finally understand what this is all about. I know I can't keep carrying it this way. Something needs to change. And it will. Eclipses bring change. So fair warning, there can be grief and endings. You know, we're sad because something's coming to a conclusion in our life. There can be exhaustion. There can be revelations that you receive. There can be emotional release at this time due to the eclipses. And the good news is this is actually a discharge of all this yucky, heavy, stuck energy that we're struggling with right now. So that is some good news. The eclipses are going to perhaps feel tense for a time as we process it all, but then it's like, out the other side. And then the real winner in the mix of when things are going to change and why things are going to change is the Saturn-Jupiter trine that's going to occur on August the 31st. I can't wait for that. I'll be talking more about that topic when it comes up at the time. But in short, as an overview for now, the current misery we're feeling has a time limit. This is the first of the Jupiter-Saturn trines, and it becomes exact on the 31st of August, as I said, at approximately 13 degrees of Leo to Aries. So Saturn will be at 13 degrees Aries, Jupiter will be at 13 degrees Leo. They will make an exact aspect. If you've got planets around those degrees, you lucky thing, you'll feel it very strongly. But this whole influence is going to be building throughout August, and it will continue to flow and be felt all through September. It's a blessing. This is a completely different Saturn-Jupiter combination from having Jupiter combust and Saturn in sort of an isolated mode. Jupiter says there's possibilities. Saturn says, well, let's make them real. Oh, I love it. Great time to come on a retreat for astrology trip to Tahoe. If you're interested, the energy is going to be perfect. So that is one of the most useful combinations for actually turning hope into something tangible. Believe me, it's going to get so much better, my friends. And for people who've been in stuck circumstances where nothing seems to move, real possibilities feel like an enormous improvement in our lives. The Jupiter-Saturn trine is almost like the perfect antidote to this present condition that we're going through. It's hope and structure, opportunity and realism meeting. It's growth and sustainability for the long term coming together. It's faith and evidence for the faith that we've had. It's expansion with appropriate boundaries. I love it. Perhaps most importantly, something that was previously only hoped for and dreamt of can start becoming concrete and real around the end of August. So isn't that worth hanging on for? till we get there. It's a very different energy, what we're experiencing right now compared to where we'll be at the end of August. And the good news is we need to know this in this moment because knowledge is power and it gets us through the dark times. So friends, let's find out how it's going to play out for each and every sign. Hello, Aries. Well, my goodness, it has been a heavy, pressurized period this last couple of weeks. People have been dealing with so much, and you're no exception, my beautiful Aries friends. Jupiter, planet of joy and prosperity and abundance, is combust and therefore invisible in your 5th house. This, of course, takes away your joy. So of all the signs, Aries, you've probably been feeling more than anyone a sense of heaviness, a sense of, I just don't feel happy anymore. My vitality is gone. I feel like life has just become so hard. Even though nothing circumstantially may have changed, you might feel that all the pleasures and the delights of life have somehow vanished. And you're just left with the dregs and the hard work and the duties and responsibilities. It's not a happy feeling, my beautiful Aries friends, especially like you've got Saturn in the 1st house sort of exacerbating that feeling as well. It's not easy. Jupiter in the house of, actually it's a financial house that has to do with rewards from family and now inheritances and what we receive from family, because it's the 2nd house from the 4th. There might be some financial pressures to do with family, to do with raising children, to do with maybe your mother, maybe your mother's health, financial pressures to do with mother's health, or to do with parenting or children that might be present because Jupiter sort of takes away our ability in his combustion to manage our finances, to do with these 5th house things. And we feel like, life is heavy in a financial sense regarding these 5th house things. Our 5th house relationships become strained by practical circumstances as well. So work and family obligations and the health of family members or housing and logistical problems put pressure on our dating life, on our romantic life. In fact, we might feel like our romantic life, whether we've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend or not, our romantic life can feel like it's tumbleweed city and there's just nothing, nada. It's empty, everything's like dead as a doornail when it comes to romance. And that's, of course, not very fun. In fact, in some types of astrology, this is one of the sexual houses. And so it can feel like not only romance is suddenly dried up, but so has your sex life for some reason or another. Jupiter combust here in the 5th house. It's also a house of good luck, one of the houses of our good karma. And we might be feeling like, oh my God, where has my good luck gone? Where has the universe gone? It used to bless me. I used to feel like it had my back. Now I feel like I'm just tossed about on the waves. Like there is nothing sound that I can cling to. No good karma coming my way. Trust me, this is not going to last. This will change, but it is part of the energy that is being felt right now. Can I just say that also with Venus in fall, this means that both benefic planets are struggling to do good stuff in your life. And that's why we feel overwhelmed by life circumstances, by responsibilities, by fears, and all that sort of thing. So Venus in Virgo makes us very, very critical of our health, critical of our body, critical of our home and its state of cleanliness, critical of our enemies. We might find that we have a more toxic approach to life ourselves, or maybe everybody around us feels toxic to us in some way, because this is the house of toxicity, house that needs cleansing and cleaning. And so we feel this high level of critique and this high level of adversity in our lives at this time. But the good news is, Aries, this is not going to last. Around the 6th of August, Venus moves into your 7th house, Libra, and this is going to make relationships sparkle. It's going to give you more business opportunities, that doors will open there. Anything that's been stalled in terms of business prospects or contracts will start to really emerge as opportunities for you. Now, it's not like the door is just going to be flung open. It will open slowly and gently because at this point on the 6th of August, Jupiter is still combust, but we might find that our circumstances begin to stabilize and relationships are going to receive much more support rather than pressure at this time. Conflicts might wind up and come to an end. Struggles might suddenly get less and we think, what was I worried about? That was just a mountain out of a molehill. We might also find that our house and its cleanliness is not the big issue that we thought it was, maybe because we've found the time to actually get stuck in and make it much more attractive and clean and so forth. We're going to be able to really move out of this heavily critiquing energy and into more of a doing, practical, less stuck energy that brings the change to this domain of life. And then around the middle of August, Jupiter is going to move out of combustion. Hallelujah. He's going to rise as the morning star, and he will be so beautiful. And welcome back to the sky, Jupiter. This is going to bring beneficial change potentially to many areas of life, including your romantic life, your sex life. It's going to bring some changes to your parents' financial situation and therefore what you receive from your parents financially as well, or the support you can get from parents in a material sense of life. But not only that, your children can have more joy and playfulness and excitement and happiness now that Jupiter is back shining a bright light in the house of their joy. You're going to find that your joy returns. Joy comes in the morning. You're going to enjoy life. Life's going to feel more promising and profitable. Life's going to feel like there's plenty of hope rather than feeling like everything has just disappeared. So good stuff. But just to touch on something that's a little bit unique, that when Jupiter returns to the sky and we can see him once again, there may be a change in your career. It could be that there's a sudden blessing that comes in some career way, and it will come suddenly. Now, not for everybody. For most people, these changes are less out of the blue and more gentle and flowing. But for you, because this is the 8th house from the 10th, Jupiter becoming visible here can actually cause a sudden opportunity, a sudden door to open, something to happen in career that really changes direction, your life direction. So there is that hope and promise as well because of the placement of Jupiter in the 5th house. So lots to look forward to. And of course, at the end of the month, we have this grand and glorious trine between Saturn and Jupiter that we've all been looking forward to so much since 2020. Bring it on. But this is going to actually be something I'll talk about in later videos this month. So do subscribe if you haven't done so already so that you don't miss any of the juicy astro information. But I just want to leave something with you, Aries. I want to tell you, even though things feel heavy and devoid of happiness at this point in time, don't give up, because if we are able to be stoic, and you've got Saturn transiting your 1st house right now, if we are able to be enduring and stoic and persevering, keeping on, putting one foot in front of the other, even when it looks like there's no rewards for our effort, if we keep going, the rewards come at the end of August because you keep showing up, because you're hanging on by the fingernails. That's when the good things come. And this is all taking place in the house of good karma and the house of you. So you can actually get the karmic rewards. You can actually get the blessing that your heart longs for towards the end of August when this heaviness and weight lifts. And also don't forget, Aries, it's eclipse season right now. There's never been a better time to get all the information that you need on how these wonderful eclipses are going to bless you. And they will bless you because they are part of a really exciting family of eclipses. But for $5, which is only the price of a coffee, you can join the Guiding Star family and you get not one but 2 mammoth eclipse forecasts. Those who've been members of my YouTube channel for a long time know just how big and enormous the eclipse forecasts I give are, and you don't want to miss out on them. Come join me at the Patreon family.